Welcome back to Tour de France Beyond the Podium on the second rest day of the Tour, recapping all of the action of the first 2 weeks of racing. What a tour it's been. We came in with a big rivalry as the headline, Jonas Vingegaard versus Tadej Pogačar, and I think that story has been told. Tadej Pogačar in the driver's seat, 4 stage wins. Jonas was giving us a lot of suspense for the first 11 days, but gosh, we turned the corner after that first rest day, and Tadej really opened it up.
Yeah, I mean, Tadej, he dominated the Tour last year, but the whole thing was like, okay, the rivalry is still alive because Jonas had that massive crash and injury and didn't have a good build-up and didn't race it really at all before the Tour. So we said if he had a better build-up, he would have made it a close race. Well, this year, it's got no excuse. And it's kind of looking like this rivalry, it's kind of one-sided, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. One of the things that kept us guessing the first 11 days, going way back, was the teams, I think. Jonas Vingegaard's team was pretty on fire. Like, they were just really rallied, always in the front, always pushing. They were even throwing jabs. And my thought I had was, like, it was just that, jabs and pokes and prods, waiting for Pogačar to sort of fall off. Jonas had a disappointing time trial. And then the drama as we went into the second week, when Pogačar crashed and they didn't take advantage of him being on the ground, that sort of like made my head spin based on how they were riding before.
Yeah, so, they were looking for opportunities, trying to throw jabs, trying to gain time. They were just slowly bleeding time. They didn't have a knockout punch. I guess you could argue that the time trial was a pretty big blow, but you're on the map, but you're not down for the count. But you had an opportunity to claw some of that back.
But also in hindsight now, it's easy for us to sit here and say, going forward from there, it wouldn't have mattered. You see how Pogačar went up Hautacam that first big day in the Pyrenees and just blew it apart.
But remember how we were saying, well, if they wait for him now, then maybe, he's going to be a little bit nicer on Hautacam. It's like, no, he's not.
There was no mercy. Yeah.
But, Tadej has been, I guess he made one misstep with that little crash, but other than that, he's just looked invincible. Yeah,
it really has been. Climbing performances for the ages. The uphill time trial the other day in the second week, like the watts he did there were all-time near 20-minute climbing performance. I forget what it exactly was. It was like 7.5 or something.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
It used to be 6. It used to be like if you can do 6 or 6.5 for 20 minutes, you're like
six watts per kilo. That was kind of like the price of admission into the front group. And then it's like, okay, if you want to be able to actually, get off the front of that front group, then you're going to have to do 6.4 to 6.5-ish. Now it's 7.2. That is just, I calculated out if I was 68 kilos, I would have to do like 510 watts or something for 20-something minutes. Like,
bonkers.
No way. No way.
So Tadej is in the driver's seat. Jonas, he's not in the position that he wanted to be or they planned to be, but he's been quite calm. He still hasn't given up. We saw him attack yesterday up to Super Bagnères, and he is remaining optimistic. He's remaining optimistic in that he's still here to do the best he can. He's still here to, take every chance he can get. I don't see him unseating Tadej, but I do appreciate that he hasn't given up. This idea of like it's all or nothing, it's the win or nothing. I don't think that's true. Like they've come this far to the Tour. They've had the team. They've done all the prep. It is sort of like a comeback from last year, even in how he's riding. So I like that he's not giving up. But
do you think it's been demoralizing for him because last year he knew he kind of had that excuse and that in the back of his mind he's like, well, look, I was basically on my deathbed and I come here and I'm second in the Tour. Just wait until next year. He comes next year with a lot of confidence, and he said he was better than ever too. He said, I'm better than ever going into this year's Tour. That is despite also crashing, having a concussion in March. So not a perfect run-in. I think they would have said, coming from second at the Dauphiné, you know that you had a pretty good run out, and nobody's season goes perfect unless you're Tadej Pogačar. But everyone has something, some kind of hiccup, some kind of bump in the road. Remco, I guess, is experiencing that right now. Yeah, he's missed all that base training and all that depth, but I don't know. Like, you just can't say that something that happened back in March with all that time you had. I think you got enough time to be 100%.
And he backed himself, and the team did too. So the reality is someone was telling me yesterday, what unfortunate timing of career and life to have your career line up with Tadej's. But we can't forget, Jonas, he's won the Tour twice. He has triumphed over Tadej. So whether or not that is the best of Jonas that we ever saw, or if maybe it's still to come in the future, who even knows? It's hard to fathom where this sport goes, where this rivalry goes. But Jonas is still in the race enough to keep it interesting. I'm super grateful that Jonas is there in the race still, because you look at the GC, without Jonas there, it's like 10 minutes to the nearest challenger.
It was kind of like the Giro of last year when Tadej just went on this solo cruise through Italy, and I think the second place guy it was Danny Martinez at like 12 minutes or something.
Not even in the picture. So I'm grateful Jonas is still there. His team is still there. His team's shifted. They're really playing the breakaways hard now, as evidenced by today, even when they're attacking when he's caught back from a crash. So
that was a bad look.
That was a bad look.
For me, that was a bad look. Maybe you can have one guy say, okay, Wout, if you want to try for the breakaway, but Victor, Matteo, Thies, everyone else, we're back here getting our leader back. But he was completely on his own, and it was actually Movistar that was chasing him back, and finally Ivan Romeo did this just burner of a pull to get him back in, and I'm like, that's not a good look when your leader's like way back there. He's back here in Connecticut with us, and Wout van Aert and Victor Campenaerts are attacking.
They'll be debriefing that on the rest day. One rider who didn't make it to the rest day, sadly, is Remco Evenepoel. Really the other favorite for the podium, last year's third place overall. Remco leaving the race yesterday after 3 hard days in the Pyrenees. I didn't see that coming.
I kind of did.
When you did?
Yeah.
When's the first time trial? Like I expected some bad days in the Pyrenees, but I didn't expect catastrophically bad out of the race.
When you saw as soon as on Hautecam, when he was dropped early on the Soler, you were like, ooh, that's gonna be tough. And he metered it, and he paced it very well, and he limited his losses. But you were still like, then once he got to that time trial the next day, that was an ugly.
That might have been the switch flip. Yeah, seeing his face in that TT when Jonas caught him and passed him.
The embarrassment to be like the world's best time trialer, the Olympic champion, the world champion, and getting caught.
Yeah,
that is.
He said at that point he wasn't even thinking about Jonas because he was so bad. He was just trying to get himself to the finish line, which also is telling of the kind of the wheels just at that point being off.
And I know we discussed this on a previous episode, but there's a big difference in losing that base, and you can still do high power. Like he won the very first race that he was back from that injury.
Won the first TT.
Remind me of the race. Brabantse-Pijl. It was Brabantse-Pijl. Yeah, he won the TT. So you can still knock out those high numbers. In January, when we've gotten like a little bit of a base under us, we did a little bit of training. That's when you set all your peak power, and then all the rest of the training, you can't really like push the ceiling on the power. You're training fatigue resistance. So that's why he was so good in that first opening time trial and so good in those opening stages, and he was slowly fatiguing. So that's why he decided not to stay in the race, is because, we would have thought, can't you do something like you did in the Vuelta a couple years ago, recover for a few days, go up the road, get in some breakaways? That works if you maybe have an acute problem on a day, but you have all that base training. Yeah. If he had heat stroke, if he underfueled a day, then you can recover from that. You can't recover from lack of training. You're not going to get better in the Tour. And so he would have just martyred himself.
And there's other objectives still for him this year. Yeah. I think he's looking to defend his World TT title. There's talk of him swapping teams for next year. So wonder how that's playing in. Rumors that he might be going to Red Bull Bora.
Oh man, it's looking a little crowded there now with Florian Leibowitz.
And speaking of that, speaking of Red Bull Bora, that's a good segue to the opening of the podium now that Remco is gone, with Florian Leibowitz, who is rising to the occasion and surpassing his acclaimed team leader in Primož Roglič.
Florian has been impressing me ever since last year in the Vuelta when I saw him get 7th, and he recently 3rd in the Dauphiné. And I kind of saw this kid coming. I've been eyeing him for a little while, and I'm like, I'm not sure what his ceiling is, but he's definitely surpassing what I expected of him. But no, he's going to be a name for the future. And Yeah, Remco, if you're thinking about going to Red Bull, you know, it's a German team. There's a German rider. Good-looking kid, too. No, he's...
This time of year, it's anyone's guess. I feel like the Tour de France is always ripe with transfer rumors. And got to wait for that August 1st transfer deadline. But that story will play out. It's not just Lipovitz playing for the podium, though. There's this nice three-way kind of battle for the final podium spot. They're all white jersey contenders in Oscar Only, Kevin Vauquelin, both having breakout Tour de France's also. So that is, you could argue that like the fight for the win is not as exciting as many of us would have liked. But if you just slot down to that third position, these guys are all coming hard for it. And they're all guys that arrived there sort of like, whoa, I'm going into the third week fighting for the podium. Like, yes, sign me up for that.
No, it's amazing to see that. Okay, the yellow jersey, I think that's off the table. But we got that fight for the green jersey. We got the fight for the polka dot jersey. And like you just said, there's a three-way battle for white. I think Florian Lipowitz, he's gonna cement that lead pretty comfortably. I think Oscar Only will be his biggest threat. Kevin Vauquelin, I see more as a Julian Alaphilippe type rider where he was really able to benefit in those first 11 days from all those really steep, punchy finishes. Remember, he's finished second at Flèche Wallonne on 2 occasions. He won, Circuit de la Sarthe, which is like, it has a different name this year, but it's like that jagged, short, steep, punchy. Northern France from where he's from. He really likes that style. Same with Tour of Swiss this year. It had a lot of those steep, punchy, narrow, technical French Cup style. I think these big mountains he's just gonna look to sit, consolidate. I don't think he's gonna be able to unseat Florian Lipowitz or Oscar Only, who are more pure climbers. But, but it is cool to see.
It's uncharted territory for all of them. The other advantage Lipowitz has is Primoz Roglič.
100%.
If Primoz lines it up for him, which
he will.
He said he would, but I am having flashbacks in my head to Roglič going up against his teammate at the time, Sepp Kuss, in the Vuelta. And not just saying like, yeah, loyal lieutenant teammate, like let me support you now. I'm coming at you for the top step.
All right, first of all, that was for the win.
I was for the win.
Not for third place.
Okay.
He's also on a different team. Maybe he's also a few years older now.
Okay.
And more accomplished. He's also won a couple more Grand Tours since then. I think he's confident enough in himself, and he's been more relaxed this entire time. You know, this is a different Primoz Roglič than what we've ever seen. Most of the time we see him up there, nervous, banging bars, and we were always criticizing him for not getting up there, making the good side of the splits. He's been happy to just be like, you know what, I'm cool. I'm on my bike, I'm here in the race. He is more relaxed, and he's like, yeah, I'll help the kid out.
And that's what he said. It shows through in his interviews also. Any video I've watched of him in a finish interview, he's like joking. He's wearing his ankle socks.
Yeah.
He's having a good time.
Yeah.
It's funny, Lipovitz, though, is still saying, well, I'll have to talk to Primoz tonight and see what we're doing. What a nice guy. But I agree. I think Primoz will line it up for him. And, it'd be tough for Only and Vauquelin to get over Lipovitz, especially when you factor in that Primoz slotting into a support role.
Yeah, and we haven't seen the end of Primoz Roglič. I know he's getting up there in age, but he came into the sport a little late. So he's a young 35. And I think he'll help out Lipowitz now, and Lipowitz maybe will return the favor. Who knows? Maybe in the upcoming Vuelta.
Roglič hasn't crashed.
Roglič has not crashed. He's still on his bike, and he's still up there. Yeah, he's in there with a shot for the podium. But I think they're gonna work together, and Lipowitz will come out on top.
All right, covered the white jersey. We're gonna move on to some of the other jerseys, including the green jersey. Still hotly contested as we move into the third week. We'll talk green jersey, all the sprinters, just after the break. Welcome back to Tour de France Beyond the Podium, continuing to recap the race as we enter the race's second rest day. We talked some of the GC guys. We got to move to the green jersey. This race for the green is still wide open. Big notable absence.
This is the most interesting jersey, the most interesting storyline of the Tour for me right now.
It's exciting. And how it plays out, I mean, the fact that Pogačar's in there, we can get to that in a minute, that makes it interesting. But Philipsen's not in there. He left the race wearing the green jersey after starting the race really hot, winning that first stage. So that has opened the door. You have this contrast of Milan, his team Trek, who really wants it. He's wearing it now. They're going for all these intermediates. They're controlling. But then you also have Matthew van der Poel, Philipsen's teammate, who is in the fight because of his successful stages that he's had. Also wore yellow for a couple days. Tim Merlier, another one of the hot sprinters, actually the most dominant sprinter in terms of speed. He's not really in the green equation.
No. Hasn't gone
but
for it.
I think this is gonna play out all the way into the final 2 days of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Van der Poel, who has the ability to jump in breakaways like he did today, get those intermediate points. There's also a good chance for him to win the stage again on stage 20. Also, if an intermediate sprint comes after some hard hills, he still has the ability to pick those up, whereas Jonathan Milan doesn't. But then you have Tadej Pogačar. If he decides to go for it, he's going to get it.
Well, he's going to get some points on the top of these climbs anyway.
Well, yeah, he's going to get points by accident, but he's not mixing it up at all in some of these intermediate sprints. And if he decides, like, you know what? It's not going to cost me that much energy. I'm just going to slip into this 5th place instead of this 16th place.
You talk about, like, today Pogačar wanting to make history and reset the record books. It's been since '69 when Bernard Hinault won green and yellow.
Was it Bernard Hinault or Eddie Merckx? It was Merckx.
Merckx.
Yeah.
Merckx since '69. That's a long time.
That is a long time. Well, this jersey has been designed for sprinters. It's thought of as the sprinter's jersey. I know it's not called the sprinter's jersey, it's called the points jersey, but the way these points are set up this year, it's really open to everyone, and that's what makes it so interesting to me. A GC rider is in 2nd place. A headbanger, who's not a pure sprinter, is in 3rd place, and a pure sprinter is in 1st place. So we're seeing this contrast of styles of it's anybody's game.
Milan doesn't like it, though. Milan will be cursing ASO, the race organization, for throwing all those green jersey points at the top of Mur de Bretagne, other more selective days where he knows he's not going to play. So, personally, I kind of would like to see Milan or Van der Poel win it. It's like, I love you, Pog, but you're already on the podium so much anyways.
I'm rooting for. Look, I just want an interesting story. Yeah. I just want to see. I just want some excitement.
We have to talk about it every day.
Of course absolutely. I just want to. I just want to be entertained by some kind of storyline, and it's not the first time that I've seen, even in our lifetime, a GC guy getting the points jersey. It happened in 2017 when Chris Froome won the Vuelta, and he beat out Italian, forgetting his name. They
totally re-engineered it after that. That was kind of like an admitted botch from the race organization there. They're like, oh no, we didn't, wow, this could have happened.
Otherwise it would have just, I've seen so many times the green jersey just be far and away, the lead is just out of it.
It's true.
It's just mathematically by 6 stages to go, it's locked up. And now I'm like, you know what, this is adding suspense because you're actually allowing other types of riders into the equation, because if it was just Jonathan Milan and Tim Merlier and Biniam Girmay.
If the sprint stages were double what they are now, it would be out of control to Milan. Because he has been so consistent up there and at the intermediates. It is cool. I mean, even looking at the stage that's 2 days from now on Tuesday, that sprint on the Mont Ventoux stage, it comes really late in the stage. So it's already like, all right, it'd be a tough day to be on Trek.
Yeah, it'd be a tough day to be on Trek. It'd be a tough day to be asked to go on the breakaway, too, because you're just like, oh, man, they're just going to pull me back at 120K because he needs those points because he knows Tadej is going to take him at the finish. And I'm also really interested to see is Tadej, are you going to mix it up there? Are you going to risk this a little bit?
It's the same situation for Tadej and the polka dots. Maybe you could say it's a little more accidental because he is racing at the top of the mountains where all the big heavy points are, but he's a real threat for the KOM jersey. When you look at the big, arguably Queen stage through Courchevel up to Col de la Loze, there's 80 points available on that day.
Yeah, for me, Brent, I'm almost kind of thinking about the KOM jersey the way you're thinking about the green. I kind of like the green. It's open to more things because it makes it a more exciting thing. But we've seen so many times recently that the GC guys, Jonas won the polka dot jersey, Tadej won the polka dot jersey, and Tadej's definitely going to win the polka dot jersey. Lenny Martinez, he might be able to get in a breakaway, get some more points. But if Tadej, he's going to win on Ventoux, he's going to haul in a ton of points from these summit finishes, he's going to get it, and you're just kind of like, why are you giving this guy just another thing to win?
The French would love for Lenny Martinez to win, obviously. That's like a bit of a nice fairy tale storyline for the French.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe Lenny Martinez can pull a Richard Virenque and just go solo on this rampage and pick up a haul of points and then just Gruppetto and,
Another good storyline for the third week. All right, we hit all the jerseys. We're going to also dig into the American riders. It's been a good race for the USA riders of the Tour. We're going to check on them after the break. Welcome back to Tour de France Beyond the Podium, recapping all the action of the first 2 weeks. The Americans have been at the front of the race. We have 5 USA riders in the race: Quinn Simmons, Matteo Jorgenson, Sepp Kuss, Will Barta, Neilson Powless. We've seen every one of them. None of them are anonymous. Every one of them have been up the road, in a break, in the wind.
Special shout out to Will Barta, actually. That was probably one of the hardest days to make the breakaway. Do you remember how long that took?
Yes.
We saw Will Barta up there, and we're like,
yeah.
There you go, Will.
Nice, man. Yeah.
But for sure the most impressive breakaway rider from the Americans is Quinn Simmons.
Absolutely. Yeah, Quinn, you just can't. If you tune into any race in the Tour, you've seen Quinn, partially for the hair and the stash and all that, the jersey, but his riding speaks for itself. Hopefully we'll see Will again in the final week. I think he'll be sniffing around. It'd be good to check in with him. We should send him a message.
Yeah.
Neilson, saw him at the end of the first week. Also, he's been working for the team too. After Ben Healy went into yellow.
Yeah, definitely doing a lot of teamwork. He got the green light today, but there was some weird tactical stuff going on there because when Carlos Rodriguez slipped in there, he wasn't able to do the work, and then eventually got caught and probably had to pull for Ben Healy's 9th place GC position. He slipped a place to 10th. So I think they were trying to play 2 games, and Neilson maybe just didn't.
Might be bumming from that.
Yeah, I think he was bummed a little from that, but also he might have just not had the legs.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll get recharged also on this nice rest day. My mind goes to Matteo because he's not in the top 5 in the GC like we saw him for the big first part of the race, but we've seen him really open up his gap in the GC. I think we're going to see him playing some Matteo Jorgenson long-range attacks in the Alps.
I hope so. He definitely has the ability to get one big win. Amazing climber. Had that bad day on Hautecam, and I think yesterday to the Super Bangers, I think he dropped on purpose. I think he tried to open up that gap, but
it was still pretty close actually then.
Yeah, I think. But it's like we mentioned before. Him and Pog have a little friction. I don't know. Our UAE, I think they're like, okay, Visma, they can all go, but not Matteo.
Yeah, there needs to be a peace patron in the peloton that brings Matteo and Pog together, has them talk it out.
Matteo, for being like a super, super nice guy, super relaxed. Like I've worked with him a bunch with USA Cycling. I've worked with him at the Olympics last year, and I see him every chance I get when I'm at these races. He is the coolest dude. But I'm just thinking back to last year when he sprinted Richard Carapaz over the Col de Braus for that KOM point, and just kind of looked at him and gave him this like Tiger Woods kind of stare down. I was like, what is going on there? So I think Matteo can get a little bit fiery. He can get a little bit heat of the moment, All
right. Matteo will channel that. Also cool as a cucumber always, our USA man Sepp Kuss. We saw him up at the end of the second week doing his thing in the Pyrenees on his home mountain range. He was looking really good too. Really did well to stay out of trouble the first part of the race, and I think we'll see him spread his wings, and the Eagle of Durango will fly in the third week as well.
Oh, 100%. This is back to Sepp Kuss of old that we know and love. He's been a little anonymous since that 23 Vuelta, and so we were unsure of what his form or how his form was going to be coming into this race. But he's proving that he has the legs to get you a win. He's already won a Tour stage before. No reason he can't do it again.
Yeah, that was an awesome memory. I love the holding off Valverde, throwing the sunglasses into the crowd. Yeah. That was awesome.
And it was not just the climbing skills that got him the win. It was the descending skills. Yeah. And that's going to be also key when you get to the Alps. He's going to be able to fly up the mountain, but he can also fly down the mountain.
All right. Well, all eyes will be on the Americans. A lot of stories to still play out. The GC, the jerseys, the Americans, the breakaways. It will continue tomorrow, stage 16, a mountain stage up the Giant of Provence to Mont Ventoux. We'll see you bright and early, 6 a.m. on Peacock.
For all your cycling content year-round, subscribe to NBC Sports YouTube page. We got it all.